Democrats haven't been this happy since they thought Hillary Clinton was going to win the 2016 election, but you would think that they would have learned by now to stop getting their hopes up after watching MSNBC or CNN.
Sick and in isolation, Mr. President, you have become a symbol of your own failures.
The president spent the weekend in Walter Reed Medical Center, which Democrats believe means laying in an ordinary hospital bed plugged into a bunch of machines, completely unaware that there's actually an entire presidential office suite there. And most importantly, he still has access to Twitter. Of course, Jim Acosta complained that when the president left the White House for Walter Reed, he didn't come over and say goodbye to the media.
When the president came out, we asked him some questions. He didn't want to take any of those questions. Typically, this president, he likes to talk to reporters. You've seen this on so many different occasions. It's a beautiful evening. Would have been just fine for him to stop and talk to us. And he went right past us. The White House has been telling us all day long, no, he's just dealing with mild symptoms and so on. Honestly, Wolf, I think we're just going to need more information before we can take that to the bank.
We did get more information, Jim. The White House then posted this message from President Trump showing that he was actually doing quite well.
I want to thank everybody for the tremendous support. I'm going to Walter Reed Hospital. I think I'm doing very well, but we're going to make sure that things work out. The First Lady is doing very well. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. I will never forget it. Thank you.
Jim then took to his diary to document that, quote, Trump did not stop for questions. Of course, if he did, then Jim would have complained that he was putting the reporters at risk of getting the coronavirus. Other world leaders have previously tested positive for the coronavirus, including British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, the President of Honduras, the Prince of Monaco, the Vice President of India, the President of Brazil, and others. But Michael Moore isn't buying it. He thinks that President Trump is making it all up in order to gain sympathy. He posted this lengthy conspiracy theory on his Facebook page, proving that he watches way too much cable news. MSNBC's Joy Reid, that angry black woman, seems to agree, tweeting out, quote, here's how wrecked Trump's credibility is at this point. I've gotten a cell phone full of texts from people who aren't sure whether to believe Trump actually has COVID. He lies so much, one friend texted. Is he just doing this to get out of the debates? A man named John Anthony Castro, whose Senate campaign in Florida failed miserably, apparently still has money left over and spent it on this Facebook ad, which, of course, Facebook approved, further spreading the conspiracy theory. Trump is trying to distract, he says, from his disastrous debate performance and bait Democrats into ridiculing him so that they lose the moral high ground, and then he'll lock in the support from his base with the extra sympathy. Of course, Facebook claims that they've made tremendous progress over the last 4 years to stop the spread of fake news, and I'm sure they'll say that this was just another mistake. And Democrat Senator Chris Murphy from Connecticut has a conspiracy theory of his own.
I want to talk about Russia because yesterday, we're days away from the U.S. election. You tweeted this public comment, and you were briefed on the intelligence here, that there is evidence of a giant, quoting from you, multi-year effort to help Trump in 2020 by Russia. What can you tell us about that?
Well, what I can tell you is that it's much bigger and bolder and smarter than it was in 2016. The Russians have learned, and they are now trying to use U.S. persons and fake websites in order to proffer a narrative that helps President Trump's reelection. And I also think that you have to be, much more serious about the Russian threat given today's news. If President Trump can't be out there on the campaign trail for the next 2 weeks, then he is going to rely on his surrogates. And unfortunately, one of his surrogates is Vladimir Putin. So you are likely going to see this campaign ramped up by Russia over the next few weeks to try to substitute for the president's absence on the campaign trail.
Well, speaking of ramping things up, since the election's getting pretty close, I might have to start making more videos or do occasional live streams.
Mr. Dice, it is almost time to release your new book and direct all of your YouTube subscribers to purchase it from Amazon.com the day that you do. That way it become #1 bestseller. Ryan Stelter cry himself to sleep, and fake news media completely freak out.
Yes, sir, I'm making the final preparations as we speak. And because of President Trump catching the coronavirus, Joe Biden is virtue signaling and now wearing a mask 24/7. Even when there's nobody around, probably wearing one to bed, too. In fact, most Democrats won't show their face in public anymore without one. That way they can prove that they're better than President Trump. And now Chuck and Nancy are saying that the Supreme Court confirmation hearing for Amy Coney Barrett needs to be postponed because of the coronavirus. And the New York Times is reporting that President Trump's name should be removed from the presidential ballots, and he shouldn't be able to run for re-election because he caught the coronavirus. Saturday Night Live thought it was absolutely hilarious.
President Trump's in the hospital from COVID, and I just want to say my heart goes out to COVID.
But the laughing didn't last very long. The president posted a video on Sunday afternoon looking and sounding fantastic.
We're getting great reports from the doctors. This is an incredible hospital, Walter Reed. The work they do is just absolutely amazing, and I want to thank them all. What a group. I also think we're going to pay a little surprise to some of the great patriots that we have out on the street, and they've been out there for a long time, and they've got Trump flags, and they love our country, so I'm not telling anybody but you, but I'm about to make a little surprise visit.
He then kept that promise within minutes with a surprise motorcade.
This is the moment, one clearly designed for the cameras, that the president left the hospital in his motorcade. He has been at Walter Reed since Friday being treated for coronavirus. And his motorcade just went directly past a gathering of his supporters who were outside Walter Reed.
But instead of being relieved that the president is doing so well and may be released from Walter Reed any minute now, the liberal media industrial complex is quite upset.
The photos! The White House has been releasing the videos! We have to show them because they're the only evidence that we have of the president's condition, but they are propagandistic. That's unfortunately the situation we're in.
Why is it so important for this president to portray himself as healthy and strong?
He is trying to put himself front and center and make himself the sort of the hero of the story.
We shouldn't be surprised by this, Wolf, but we should call it out for what it is, which is deeply irresponsible.
And they're still dreaming about the 25th Amendment.
We have this thing called the 25th Amendment that has been used by two other presidents in our history. Why that has not been discussed in the context of Donald Trump's treatment right now, temporarily transferring power to Vice President Mike Pence, is a mystery to me and to a lot of my national security sources.
Why in the world would he give up his authority when he's feeling fantastic and is only having minor symptoms? We're glad you're feeling better, sir, and can't wait to see the liberal media reaction once you're back home in the White House. Not only is the election approaching, but so is Halloween, so I've decided to release this limited edition Beware of Democrats shirt, since we're gonna start seeing a lot more zombies roaming the streets. Like all of my designs, it's available in a t-shirt, long sleeve, and a hoodie, and a whole bunch of different colors as well. So be sure to head on over to my online store, markdice.com, or click the link in the description below, and check it out!